In the final weeks of spring, I am getting out as often as I can to explore the ever-shifting landscape of my home and crafting herbal medicine from what I find in abundance. Recently, I have been working with the willow that is native to my region, so this video will be something of a deep dive into making medicine with this healing tree. Or at least, we will be spending a cozy day in my little apothecary. In my last video, I mentioned returning to my roots and sharing more herbal remedies and folk magic. Today's video is definitely more of a casual process of how I make a willow bark tincture rather than a deep dive into its medical or magical uses, though I look forward to exploring these properties more fully. And as always, I encourage you to do your own research if something I share piques your interest. In any case, I feel it's been a long while since I've shared some herbal crafting with you here in my cozy little nook, so I hope you enjoy what I share today. Okay, so I have divided my willow up into different components for what I'm going to use it for. I have these thicker parts of the branches that I'm going to soak and then process into smaller chips for my tincture. I've saved all of the leaves to dry for a natural dye, and then these wispy pieces over here I'm going to save either for a wreath, another wreath, or I might gather them up and save them for a broom to make this fall. So yeah, I just think if I'm going to take the fallen branches from nature, I might as well use every single part of it in my craft. I like to make banana bread in this dish, but today we are soaking willow. Versatility, am I right? See, look, it's perfect. But now I want banana bread. That should work just fine for weighing them down. Over the past few weeks, I've been working to form a deeper connection with the land that I live on, and reacquainting myself with different plants I've worked with in the past, but also discovering new species. So in today's case, that is the black willow tree that I stumbled across a few weeks ago. I shared the making of an herbal oil a few videos back. However, it completely slipped my mind that salicin, which is the healing essence of willow bark, is most readily absorbed through water or alcohol. It will not be as effective as a topical oil. So I decided to go back and harvest more bark, but there is a funny anecdote to go along with that. In this particular marshland lives a very hungry beaver, and I met him the other night. I tried to film him, and I think in retribution he cut down my willow tree, the exact one that I harvested the bark from earlier. Oh hi! Oh my goodness! There is a beaver swimming away. He's the one that's been gnawing at the trees. I took a stroll one evening and I noticed that the entire tree had been felled, so I didn't want to let all of that wonderful medicine go to waste, so I harvested a few branches from the main trunk, put them in my car, and promptly forgot about them. It is spring here, all of the trees are releasing their seeds, so the willow catkins went to seed in my car. So I'm someone who drives with my windows down, and as I pull out one day, driving down the highway, all of the seeds, it's a torrent of white fluff flowing out my window, and I'm terrified of being pulled over because it looks like I'm littering or a psychopath who's really excited for Christmas. So the moral of the story is, I'm brandishing this like a wand, do not let willow go to seed in your car, because I am still finding willow fluff everywhere, in my hair, in my seats, in the floorboard. It is very hard to eradicate the fluff. It was well worth it though, because now I have all of this fresh willow to work with to make my tincture, and I've went ahead and stripped away the outer bark from this. Anytime you hear someone talk about the medicinal qualities of tree bark. They don't mean the rough outer scaly bark, it's the inner bark. So all I did was soak these for a few hours and peel the bark away, and now I'm ready to process them to make my tincture. This is really doing me in. I realized that last time I was working with very fresh bark that had been soaked. This has dried completely, so it's a lot more difficult to break it up into smaller pieces safely. So I think I will be soaking this for a little while before continuing. I don't think that this episode of the Hearth Fairy is going to be very interesting for a lot of people because all I'm doing is splitting wood. There's probably an easier way to do this. I just have to chop these into smaller pieces before I begin. Good morning. So as you can see, we have a bit of a continuation of theme. It has continued to rain, and we always get this long stint of rainstorms at the end of May. It makes everything so lush and green just in time for the summer months. And in general, I just love a good rainstorm. I feel like it cleanses the earth, it cleanses the energy around the home, it forces you to stay inside and focus on everyday tasks like finishing a tincture. So for this, like I said, all I need to do is chop up these remaining pieces very finely, weigh everything out, and then finish up the tincture. It really is a very simple process. I just enjoy taking you guys along and having these chatty moments here. So yeah, without further ado, let's continue. any of you are watching this thinking that you would actually learn how to make a medicinal tincture, this probably isn't the channel for that. Again, I'm an amateur, and I've had to switch over to this big jar. And at this point, I think I'm just gonna do my tried and true folk method, because if I do the math like it tells me, I need 4 cups of vodka. I don't think I have that much vodka. Oh wow, that is just about what I need. Okay, so this is what we have for our willow bark tincture. So according to the measurements, I had 95 grams of bark, and that equated to 4 cups of alcohol. I'm probably wrong. I'm not good at math, which is why I have a YouTube channel about plants and spiritual herbalism and art. I did have exactly 4 cups of vodka in this bottle, and that's all I have right now. If I had chopped this up a little more finely, I don't think I would have the issue of it peeking out of the top. I might have to just go in and clip it in the jar. However, I do know that this is going to be a very potent tincture, and I'm excited to experiment with it later in the year. So yeah, again, do not follow my advice if you're looking for actual scientific herbal methods. Though I think it is important to always try new things and learn. Working with herbs, working with the energy of the earth is always a refreshing and eye-opening experience, because not only do I get these funny little anecdotes like meeting Mr. Beaver or the Willow Fluff catastrophe, but I also get to work with some really cool herbal medicine. And all of that really deepens and strengthens my connection to the earth, because many plants that I've worked with, significant plants like vervain, St. John's wort, or in this case willow, I found them by accident. Usually when I go out looking for something, I'll get what they call empty basket syndrome, because I feel like I've wasted the whole walk if I can't find anything to bring home. But just a reminder that the nature, experiencing the walk through nature, maybe that is the medicine. But in this case, the willow tree spoke to me. I know that's not everyone's philosophy, but I do find, again, the most significant connections that I've made with plants are when that plant reaches out to me in a way. I say all of that to underscore the idea of learning and keeping an open mind. I'm always learning something new with herbal medicine. I hope you all enjoyed this somewhat chaotic herbal crafting video. I certainly envisioned it being more polished, but that isn't true to life, is it? Feel free to comment any plants you've been working with this season. Everyone, take care, and I will talk to you very soon. Goodbye.